In a 2 or 3 player game, turn order proceeds clockwise after the starting player has taken their turn. In a 4 player game, turns have to alternate between the two teams. Black Legion dice and Red Commander dice can be reduced from 6 to 0, for example, to pay for an ability on a permanent card. If the die is reduced to 0, remove the die and the connected token from your battlefield. You can get the dice back, for example with the Strategize command card. Red Commander dice can only occupy red squares, and Black Legion dice can only occupy black squares. Your Blue General die cannot be reduced down to 0, and can never be removed from your battlefield. If your Blue General die is at 1, you can no longer spend this point for actions. Don't forget that one die is only allowed to have one token at a time. In the rare case that you complete 2 red squares, you still gain 2 Red Commander dice and 2 tokens of your choice. You are only allowed to have a maximum of 5 Red Commander dice in your battlefield at the same time. Immediately after you've gained and rolled a 6th Red Commander die, either keep that die and place it on the newly created red square and remove another from the battlefield, or replace one of the existing Red Commander die with the one you just rolled. The limit for Black Legion dice in your battlefield is 10. Immediately after you've gained and rolled an 11th Black Legion die, either keep that die and place it on the newly created black square and remove another from the battlefield, or replace one of the existing black die with the one you just rolled. You may only have 2 of the same tokens at a time. If you gain a 3rd copy of a token, you must pick one of them to remove. When a black army card or a white objective card is discarded, it is put on the bottom of the corresponding deck face down. When a red command card is discarded, it goes to the command card discard pile face up. Normal legions only span 2 cards. When they are completed, the Black Legion die corresponding to it is rolled immediately. Big legions span 3 cards, and massive legions span 4 or more cards. When you add a card to a legion but don't finish it during your army phase, you don't roll the Black Legion die for it. When you finish a legion of 3 or more cards during your army phase, you may roll all the Black Legion dice belonging to it at the same time and allocate them as you wish. After finishing a big or massive legion of 3 or more army cards, you get a bonus from the battle card, depending on the color of the legion. There are 5 different rewards, 1 for each color. If the legion you finished is the color of your starting army card, you may pick any one of the 5 rewards listed. When you finish a big or massive legion of 3 or more army cards, the renown of your elite forces may have demoralized your opponent's troops. After you picked your bonus from the battle card, your opponent must now roll a die. They can pick any die not used in the battlefield. If the result is equal or lower to the number of red commander die in that opponent's battlefield, the moral test is passed. Otherwise, the opponent loses a Black Legion die from his battlefield. If you finished a big legion spanning exactly 3 army cards, the opponent gets to pick the die. If it was a massive legion of 4 or more army cards, you choose which die is removed. Keep in mind, in 3-player mode, moral tests affect both opponents at the same time. In a game of Para Bellum, each player begins with 2 coins. Coins can be gained by substituting army cards for coins during the action phase of a player's turn, through battle card bonuses and various other effects. Coins are mostly used to pay for the effects on permanent cards and are spent instead of the values on red Commander dice and black Legion dice. In this case, you still need to have the required token, even if you don't use the die on top of it to pay for the effect. The cost of such an action can be split between coins and a single die, but never between two dice. Three-player games are very similar to two-player games, the only difference being that players now have a choice which opponent their detrimental actions will affect. Players cannot become allies, work together, or exchange resources in a three-player game. However, verbal non-binding agreements can of course be made. In a four-player game of Para Bellum, there are two teams of two. Allies sit next to each other and have a randomly selected alliance card between their play areas that both of them can use. Some alliance cards allow for shared use of permanent cards. In the case of permanent cards and shared objective cards, place the cards in question underneath the alliance card. In four-player, your ally will never be your opponent, and effects which target opponents cannot target your ally. Alliance cards can be used with the activate action. When you activate an alliance card, put the corresponding token on the card or move it one space towards your ally. The top ability is only triggered after 3 moves, when the token reaches the space with the ability. The bottom ability is triggered every time it is used. Don't forget, in 4-player mode, you're allowed to use both actions on your alliance card. Alliance cards can be activated once per round.